Okay. So this is a really juicy conflict resolution, intimacy building tool, all of it in one. It's really, this is a beautiful exercise that is really something that's been birthed from my own being, my own lived embodied experience of when you're triggered, when you're in a triggered state, you kind of have the emotional intelligence of like a 3-year-old child, right? And the things that you needed as a child when you were in an activated state are the things that you continue to need. And yeah, and I'm a person who's really in my body when it comes to anything. And so a lot of the kind of beautiful tools of conflict resolution that I've learned through different mediums never really spoke to me too much. So I wanted to start using tools that would really cater to my 3-year-old self who's triggered as fuck and doesn't know what to do. And I'm also really excited to share some tools with you that we also use. Because Angel actually has the intelligence of like a 300-year-old person. And so he has a very resilient mind, and so I really love that we have a practice where we can actually come and be at an eye-to-eye level, because even when I'm not triggered, I'm not as intellectual as a 300-year-old person in the way that you are. So I believe it's important for couples to have, honestly, whatever relationship you're in, whether you're dating one person or like 7 people, it's important for every single person, whatever gender you are, whatever kind of relationship style you've got going on, it's going to be essential that you have an exercise that you can do that bridges the gap of separation in your nervous systems. You can come to the same place together no matter how experienced you are. Yeah, because that was also a thing for us, right? That I felt like, about the thing about experience, at the beginning of our relationship, where like you would get triggered and you'd be like, I don't know the right language to use, because I feel like I've been in workshop spaces almost my whole life, so I have this kind of non-violent communication vocabulary that's just really in my bloodstream at this point, and I know what I need to do. I have my kind of trauma script. And also at the same time, I know that that's a way that I can turn my feeling body off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a really beautiful way to turn your feeling body off, being really good at communication. And so, yeah, do you feel to share a little bit about that, around the whole like the mind fucks around not being good at communicating?
Yeah, I mean, I was really conscious that my nervous system could probably take whatever challenge was happening, but because I lacked the understanding of framework about how developmental trauma happens, about like really good tools in which to get it out, and or like not to get it out, not to judge it, but like to get it moving if it wants to move. And that frustration was very present in like the beginning of our relationship, because I was very aware that I could probably handle it, but I just didn't quite know what I was going to handle. And I'm the same as you, like I'm super in my body, and that's a really good way for me to move trauma. But when it gets into language, that was definitely a learning curve.
Curvy learning.
See on it.
So I'm going to be showing you 2 different exercises. The first one is, it doesn't really have a name for it, but it's a push. It's a non-verbal exercise that's really just about pushing and pulling. And this is an incredible exercise to do when one of you in the partnership is like really triggered, really activated. If they can feel frustration or rage running through their body, this is a very gorgeous physical exercise that gives the nervous system everything it kind of needs in order to really work through any tension in their body. One person will be kind of holding space. I'll be that person in this example. And Angel will be the person with the charge. And as you're watching, see if you can feel how real this charge is, because actually we just did have a moment of conflict, and Angel asked if I could hold space for him, and I said, you know what, let's share what we do. Let's share. And he said, you want to make money out of me? And I was like, no, I want to give this to people for free. These are tools that I want everyone who loves another. If you're in any kind of relationship, it's like what turns me on the most is people just being great to each other and loving each other. There is an art to love. Love itself is a practice. So we need exercises and practices that can help us refine the art of loving. Yeah. Needless to say, these practices need to be done when there's already been some kind of connection, that you've breathed together, that you've had a moment of having eye contact together. I really love to have just a moment of co-regulation before going into this, so that any kind of conflict resolution comes from a place of love. And so just to say, with all of these exercises, whatever comes up, know that everything is in service to love. Even the most ugly emotion, it's allowed to come through you because you know that it's in service to love. Conflict is an incredible gateway to intimacy. So see if you can trust in the conflict and see it as an ally. Yeah. Should we do it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, going to begin on the knees. And what's going to happen is that I'm going to hold my hands up like this, and Angel's going to meet me here. And we're going to maintain eye contact. That's quite important to mention, is that you're going to maintain eye contact all the way through. This can get quite intense. And so at any point, the person who's holding space is not obliged to continue or go beyond their window of tolerance. Like, the point is that we learn that nobody is obliged to receive support from another, but when you can receive that support in a safe container, you can see how much more giving you are. And so just to see that, so what's going to happen is Angel is going to push against me a little bit. And he doesn't want to beat me. It's just about, like, he wants to feel, I want to support him in feeling some resistance. You can breathe and release any sound that you need to. Pause. How do you feel right now?
Quite soothed. Just knowing that, that the charge is being witnessed, I feel automatically quite smooth.
Okay. So making sure to take a breath together. And this is what you're going to do. You're going to do 3 rounds of this, of the pushing. And it's important that you're staying on your knees and that it's not about winning. You're really just letting the person feel the push and pull. Because this is what's happening in the nervous system of a person who's activated. There's this desire to express something, but not really understanding the full intelligence of the thing that wants to be expressed. It's like there's this thing that wants to come through, and I personally see this as like the wounded feminine, the feminine who wants to be fully experienced, and the feminine is the water, like the crashing waves. I have never seen fury like a crashing wave, and she just wants something to crash against. So you could imagine there's a person who's holding space, that you're the kind of masculine pole, you're the rock for the water to splash up against. And the rock is not going to take it personally. The water she just wants to be felt. And usually when she's being felt, she can then relax. So it's 3 rounds of this, the pushing, and then we're stopping, remaining in eye contact. And the space holder asks what's alive in the other person's body. What are they feeling? You ready?
Yeah. You good?
I'm good. See if you can release with sound. How does that feel? Pause. What's alive in you right now?
I feel quite horny.
Okay, so the frustration is transformed into horniness. Okay. That happens.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, I feel more expansive in my chest right now. Yeah.
So the invitation is to pause this video right now and to do one more round of this on your own. And then we'll move on to the next exercise. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so welcome back. This is step 2, and this is what I call Primal Forces. And this is a very simple exercise, and because of its simplicity, I'm going to really let you know the download of how you can go super deep into it and how it can also be held in a really safe way. What's going to happen is that one person with the charge is going to go into a non-verbal, full expression of their charge in front of you. And that's an important piece to mention. Their angel's going to go fully into his expression, or as full as he likes to go, as full as he feels safe enough to go, right? Because you also can't force that. You can't you can't manufacture authentic expression. It's either going to come through or it's not. And with some people that I've done this exercise with, their authentic expression of their experience is like sitting with their eyes closed in silence. Like the numbness is a valid expression, right? So I will set a timer for 2 minutes. Angel will go into a non-verbal expression of his experience. And it's not, important piece to mention, he's going to be expressing kind of at me. It's not for me. It's not to inform me how he feels. It's also not to educate me about how I should. It's not to communicate anything with me. And so the important piece to mention is you're going to try your best not to communicate things with me. You know, it's not charades. You know, and as the receiver, I'm going to drop into a neutral mind state as much as possible. I'm also not going to try and interpret anything that I see in Angel's expression. I'm simply going to hold space. I'll be an empty vase, right? That's the idea. The idea is that Angel should be able to meditate through me, through the connection that we hold, through the eye connection that we keep. We're going to stay in eye connection. That will be the golden thread that continues, that allows the exercise to have consistency, so the angel can stay tethered to my stillness. So once again, I'm going to use the analogy of the ocean, how she wants to be felt and she wants to just crash, the waves want to crash against the rock. I've seen incredible things happen when there's one person holding the masculine pole of unchangeable stillness, the quality that is absolutely unchangeable, to summon forth more depth and expression from the other person. And I feel it for myself when I'm in the presence of someone who is completely unchangeable, who is able to feel me, who has not turned their feeling body off, that they're able to really be with themselves fully and also be with the other. I feel really wild and free. And I honestly want everyone to have this experience where they get to have their full expression, and that it doesn't need to be fixed, it doesn't need to be healed, it doesn't need to be changed, it doesn't need to be analysed, it doesn't need to be coached. I'm also not going to coach Angel. This is not a coaching tool. Yeah. And what I see that often tends to happen is this, is it's a conflict resolution tool, and it's also a polarity building tool. So Angel's going to go fully into his wild oceanic feminine expression, and I'll be holding my center unfazed and unaffected, but also letting my nervous system metabolize what he's expressing. And that usually builds up a lot of gorgeous erotic energy. So yeah, that's just a little tip to mention. You might get a little bit turned on because it's just physics. It's just physics. It's polarity. It's pretty simple stuff, really. Other things to mention. Eye contact is essential. Keep your feeling body on as the observer, but try to manage your reactions, your responsiveness. Just allow yourself to be an empty vase and really just meditate. And to the person who's expressing, the invitation here and the art to craft here in this expression, and the art that's always worth crafting with embodiment, is how can I feel out and express horizontally, sharing my full experience. There's a difference between sharing my anger to the universe and people watching it, to sharing my anger at that person and blaming them for my anger. It's very different. It's a very subtle, it's a nuance, but perhaps you'll get it when you see the example of us doing this. It's, I choose to open my heart and share myself with you, and then I can trust that this experience, this expression, is in service to love. Yeah, so feeling out and sharing horizontally, and see if you can also feel that in your body as well, like see how that feels. If it feels different for you to experiment with sharing at, pointing your expression towards the person, and share it and feeling out and sharing the experience horizontally. Yeah. Do you feel ready?
Yeah. You?
Yeah. So I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes. It's on your phone, isn't it? We'll take a few breaths together to start. Your 2 minutes has started. Deep breath. And I'm going to ask one question. This is not a coaching question. This is simply a question for Angel to reflect for himself. Is there a desire or a request underneath what you're feeling? You don't have to answer.
Nothing to say.
Thank you.
Thank
Mm. Thank you for sharing your vulnerable truth.
Share?
Yes.
I feel to really lean on the differentiation between when really, really making the point to look after your voice. When you're expressing breath, it's very easy to wanting to put it out of your throat and into the other person. Instead, stay with what you have and really feel into the breath in your gut and give it as much breath as possible. Breath rather than sound is a good point.
Yeah, because sound is very penetrative.
Yeah.
It's very easy to accidentally penetrate the other when you use a lot of sound. So breath is a very beautiful kind of less violent way of still expressing the sensation, but like being tender to the environment, because sound is very penetrative, right? Yeah. Any last words for the beautiful strangers watching us go into express our primal forces?
Primal Forces, yes. Be really, really, really kind to yourself. It's very easy to expect a lot. It's very, very easy to want to go into performance mode. And yeah, just fucking then surrender, because this is like the act of not holding on to anything.
Yeah.
If you wanted to hold on to it, then you wouldn't. Yeah, it would just be nice here in your gut, and you can have it for the rest of your life, and it will be like a nice, delicious trauma. But yeah, just surrender, whatever it is, and let yourself be surprised with it.
Sending you all so much love.